The Papa Jeff's America program is made possible by contributions from listeners like you. Thank you. If you'd like to buy Papa Jeff a cup of coffee, visit us on the web at support.papajeffusa.com. Papa Jeff's America, the talk radio podcast, continuing the conversation, one podcast at a time. Live from the OG Radio Studios in Houston, Texas, broadcasting around the country and around the world, welcome to the Papa Jeff's America program. We're continuing the conversation one podcast at a time. We're the talk radio show podcast with real conversations about real things: human interest, society, positivity, mindfulness, health and wellness, good stuff. The stuff and things that you want to talk about. Inspiring guests, insightful commentary, and what would a day be without Papa Jeff's old guy humor, right? Because we're all in this together. So with one sort of kind of good eye, that special old guy humor, and definitely a face for radio, it's OG time. Here's Papa Jeff. Continuing the conversation, one podcast at a time, I'm Papa Jeff, and this is Papa Jeff's America. For us today, we're taken to the skies with veteran paraglide pilot and instructor Max Marien from the Torrey Pines Gliderport in La Jolla, California. Max is a friend of this broadcast, and we're so excited to have him with us today to share his experiences. The Papa Jeff's America program, we are the talk radio podcast, continuing the conversation one podcast at a time. It's 58 degrees and cloudy at the OG Radio Studios in H-Town, Space City, Houston, Texas, the city with no limits. Houston strong. This is the Papa Jeff's America program on the OG Radio Network. When we come back, up, up, and away with Max Marien. The Papa Jeff's America program is made possible by contributions from listeners like you. Thank you. If you'd like to buy Papa Jeff a cup of coffee, visit us on the web at support.papajeffusa.com. Papa Jeff's America, the talk radio podcast, continuing the conversation, one podcast at a time. Our guest today is Max Marien, and Max is a associate of a friend of our broadcast, and met him through this young lady. You all know Cheyenne Abolt, and Max is, I call Max paraglide pilot extraordinaire. Max is a paraglide pilot and everything associated with that, with different aircraft, and he is associated with the Torrey Pines Gliderport, say that 3 times fast, in La Jolla, California. And Max started paragliding at the age of 11, and he is amazing. We definitely appreciate him taking his time. Max, welcome to the program. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Geoff.
You have you've impressed me. I'll tell you. I've read your bio, and Cheyenne has talked about you, and I've even I clicked one day onto Cheyenne. It said that started a live video, and you guys were in Hawaii, and she was on the paraglider with you, and I mean, wow, talk about timing. Where I was just having one of those days, and Cheyenne started a live video, and I clicked on, and here's you guys, and whoa, this is Hawaii, and look at that, I'm in Hawaii, and it got my day all better right away. That was great. So you guys have amazing timing, and you've done this since you were 11. What got you started in that?
Well, I was lucky enough to have my father get involved with it when I was, about that age, 11. He started going out to the glider port, working out there. And so he would take me along, especially during the summers when I didn't have school. I would go out, watch him learn how to fly, watching other people learning how to fly. And that's when I ended up going on my first tandem flight, with an instructor, because you can go, two people in a glider. And yeah, it took me up at 11 years old, was flying me around, and the instructor's name was Ricardo. Anyways, he wanted to mess with me, and he was asking me to take the controls. And honestly, at that age, I was really afraid of heights. So that was a big fear of mine. Was I didn't really even want to go. I was sort of forced into it. And then when he was up there, he's trying to make me take the controls, and I kept telling him no. And so he proceeds to just let them go and say, okay. And
Here you go.
so, yeah, I reached up and grabbed them and started, flying the aircraft. And so that was my introduction to flight.
Wow, trial by fire, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Here you go, or we're gonna die.
Yeah, I don't want them. You can have them. And now I know how safe and easy paragliders are to fly. There's absolutely nothing wrong. It wouldn't be the same as if we were in like a helicopter, an airplane, or something. Paragliders, like any kind of parachute like aircraft, is completely stable if you don't do anything. It just wants to fly straight and level. So it's one of the easiest aircraft to operate.
Now, I know one of the things that you did, and we talked off air, that you held this record for 6 months, or perhaps even longer, but you used to be, which I think is amazing. So I'm still going to give you massive credit for that. You used to be the world record holder for infinite tumbles by completing a number, I'm reading here, 374 full and over end loops in a paraglider. And I'm thinking, okay, so why would I jump out of a good aircraft, right? Which, anyway, you can tell I'm the one that doesn't do heights either, and I'm on the second floor of my house here, so I'm up as high as I'm going to go. But the 374 loop-de-loops, shall we say, and you're attached and you're controlling this aircraft. And now the previous record was 286, so 374 is a lot. And you dropped from a helicopter that was at 16,000 feet, and you said you would have done more, but you ran out of altitude, which means that if you were going to hit the ground. It's
Right.
wow.
Yeah.
Impressive, though. Very impressive.
The reason I had to stop was the wind drift had put me out over the ocean pretty far. So I had to stop so I could glide back to shore.
Wow. Now that's you dropped from a helicopter, it said, for that one. Is that how you normally get started? Or I mean, is it you go up to like a cliff and jump off? Or I mean, I know I sound like a Neanderthal here with these terms because I'm not that familiar with the sport, but how do you get up into the air?
So the dropping out of things is something more typical of skydiving, right? So you go up in an airplane or a helicopter, and you have a skydiving parachute packed into a backpack. You can free fall for a while, and then you deploy it. Well, a paraglider is basically just that same aircraft modified so that it flies more like a bird's wing. So it actually has a better glide ratio, which means it just travels at a shallower angle through the air, and it sinks slower. So this allows you to take advantage of updrafts, right? So like at Torrey Pines Gliderport, it's a big cliff, 300 feet tall. It faces west, which is the dominant onshore wind direction. And when the wind, comes in off the ocean, it has to go up and over the cliff. And that's what we're flying on, basically, is this big band of rising air of basically the sea breeze going up over this cliff. So with paragliders, typically the goal is you start from an area, you gain height, and then you can continue to fly until the air either no longer supports you or you decide it's time to go land.
Okay. So you're in control the whole time, and even if you lose the wind, shall we say, you're still in control and you're still able to control the aircraft and come down to a safe spot.
Right. Yeah, because it's still just a parachute, and it's a very easy to control, easy to fly parachute. So like at the glider port, if the wind dies out, then we'll just end up landing on Black's Beach, which is actually a nude beach down below.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
that's
so
an extra
not
added
the end of the
attraction from
world.
having to land. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We got plenty of good stories about landing down there, but it's yeah, so long as you have a place in mind where you could go land while you're in the air, then you're safe. So when we're flying around, we just always know that gravity is working against us and the wind is not always going to support you. So just so long as you have a place that you can go and land in mind, then that's it. That's how you keep yourself safe.
I saw what I thought was an awesome picture of something awesome that you did just last week at Cheyenne's EP breakout party, where she was tandem with you and you landed her right on the stage for this event. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, that was so good. She's just amazing. She did that flight with heels, like with big, like heels on, and I was pretty worried about it. But she's got a good balance. She's a yogi. She's a yoga instructor, and she pulled it off just fine. But yeah, that was one thing I was like, are you sure you want to go and land with those heels on? And she's like, I got this, no worries.
You are definitely a safe pilot, because she told me when she was on the show, not this last time, but the first time that we met, that she takes care of that guitar. And she told me about a round that you guys did. We were talking about Crazy Mary, and that when you did the video and she's got the guitar and she's playing the guitar, that never mind about me, make sure the guitar is safe. So if the guitar is safe, I'd go up with you. If she trusts you to take care of her guitar, I'd trust you.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're taking risks, right? We're taking little risks, and I feel pretty confident and comfortable in what I'm doing. But yeah, that the whole taking the guitar, I was actually pretty nervous about it because it was my suggestion.
Oh.
it was kind of a, hey, why don't you bring that guitar with you? And yeah, when we're up there, she was totally confident. We were doing like aerobatic stuff, like doing big diving turns, and the whole time she just kept on playing right through it. Like, just such an awesome musician that she just held it together even when we were doing some pretty strong stuff. I was trying to like test her a little bit, but yeah, she just played right through. It was amazing, like having my own little personal concert flying through the air.
That is so great. And I've told her, and I've told you off air, but I think I live vicariously through you guys, through you and through Cheyenne and Dennis, and I don't know any of the other company, but it's just amazing what you guys do. And just you're all three of you are just such amazing people, and that you have such amazing spirits, and that you live life, and that perks me up. And I just appreciate you guys. Thank you for doing what you do.
Oh, thank you, Geoff. I really appreciate that. Yeah, and I'm just happy that I get to be part of the company now as well.
Absolutely, a great bunch of people. Now, Max, do you operate other type of aircraft? Rotor wing, fixed wing, anything like that, or is it all in the Paraglide family?
No, I pretty much just stick to the lightweight, easy to operate aircraft. So I fly paragliders, is the first thing that I learned how to fly. Hang gliders as well, which are, the big diamond shaped delta wing things. Hang gliders, have a rigid structure, aluminum tubing. Anyways, they're actually more difficult to deal with just because of all the aluminum tubing. So I end up flying mostly paragliders. And in paragliding, there are different styles of canopy. So, there's like just basic beginner paragliders. There's tandem paragliders. There's aerobatics paragliders. There's cross country paragliders. There's speed wing. There's paramotor. So I do all of those, and it's all just a kind of a variant of the same aircraft. But for example, an aerobatic paraglider is just heavy construction and a slightly different profile, slightly different design. A tandem paraglider would just be a lot bigger. They're usually like beginner kind of style. Cross country paragliders are really high performance, real long wings that are stretched out, so sort of like an albatross wing.
Mhm.
And then speed wings are like just really really small canopies, so they go a lot faster, but you're typically just going downhill. So there's a lot of little groups in paragliding. If you're in the Midwest, a lot of what people do, or just any kind of flatter areas, a lot of what people do is paramotoring, which gives you the ability to launch and land off of just flat ground, so you can basically do it out of your backyard.
No, that sounds more my speed. That would be good. So, and you teach this, you and your colleagues at the glider port. You teach this, and so folks can get a hold of you, and they can come to you guys for lessons on how to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. You can learn how to do it yourself, or you can just go for a tandem flight. That is probably the easiest way to just try it out and see if it's something that you really want to get into. Um, for a lot of people, it grabs them, brings them in, and you just end up doing something like this for forever. A lot of the pilots that I learned to fly with, I'm still flying with, now 20 years later.
Wow. So if nothing else, you may not think that this is something that you want to get into, but even if you want to book a tandem appointment on a weekend day or something, when something's available, go out and take a ride, and it might be you might get hooked on it, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And even if not, it's just a beautiful sight. The Torrey Pines, I basically call home. It's situated on top of the cliff, and the views from atop the cliff are just spectacular. Um, you can see about, like maybe 5 to 10 miles in either direction, up and down the coast, and we just have this stunning view of the coastline from up there. And it gets even better when you're in the air, of course. But if you're ever in San Diego, it's definitely a site worth coming and seeing. Even if you don't fly, you can just watch people, launching, landing, learning, and it's a pretty entertaining place.
If nothing else, it's a great spectator sport. So you guys, if you're in the Southern California area, you should definitely stop by. I am from Southern California originally, and so am somewhat familiar with the San Diego area. The Torrey Pines Gliderport. We will put the information on how to get a hold of these guys in the show notes. So you definitely want to get a hold of those guys over there. Get a hold of Max. They would be more than happy to schedule an appointment with you guys. And wow, just I definitely appreciate you coming on. One more question: what's the coolest location that you've ever flown?
Well, you already mentioned it when we flew in Makapu
Mm.
in Oahu. That is really one of my favorite places on earth. So I was really happy to be able to share that place with Cheyenne, to take her tandem there, because it is really my favorite place. Just tropical, perfect setup for paragliding, and yeah, just beautiful place even when you're not in the air.
I agree with you. It's been a lot of years since I've been to Hawaii, but no, definitely a beautiful place. And I was not only thinking of that, but I was thinking of uh, the Gliderport area last week when we were here in Texas with this freak freeze storm we had. So, and of course, when I Cheyenne was on the show on Monday, and she mentioned, yeah, we're in the 80s out here, and okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's
we get that nice desert breeze blowing sometimes out of the east, and yeah, it makes this place feel just like the desert in winter. You get 80s during the day. It gets a little cold at night sometimes, but cold. Oh, it dropped down to 60s somewhere. So for you guys in the rest of the country, that's still like, oh, that'd be a nice warm day right now.
I would take it. I mean, it's in the 70s here today in Houston, but in Texas, and I'm fairly new to Texas. Within the last 2 years, I moved from Reno. I'd been there for 15 years, and I left Reno for a number of reasons, but mainly because I wanted to get away from the snow. And that's why I moved to Reno, because I wanted the snow. Okay, well, 15 years later, I wanted to get away. And so we moved to Houston. Long story behind that. That's a whole different episode. But, we moved here and we traded the snow for the 9,000% humidity and the bugs that are large enough that you can put saddles on them, because I've seen bugs here that I've never seen before. And the occasional rain event, Hurricane Harvey. But, haven't been through that yet, although we're about ready to come into hurricane season. But then when they said, oh, it's going to snow next week. No, it's not. Yeah, it did. Yeah. And of course, the power grid wasn't anywhere near, where it needed to be. That's a whole different thing. And, then Ted Cruz went to Cancun. But that's political, and we won't get there. But we definitely appreciate you, Max. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Thanks for everything that you do with Cheyenne and Company as well. Thanks for being a friend to our broadcast. Come on anytime. If there's anything that we can do to help you guys at Cheyenne and Company, or also at the Gliderport, let us know. We're here to do everything we possibly can. And you are an amazing person. Thanks so much for being you, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Geoff. It's been my pleasure.
Guys, this is the Papa Jeff's America program. We are the talk radio podcast, continuing the conversation, one podcast at a time. Sit tight. We'll be right back. Thank you for joining us today for the Papa Jeff's America program. Check out more episodes of our podcast at papajeffusa.com. You can subscribe through the link on our website, or wherever you get your podcasts. We're on all the major platforms. papajeffusa.com is your home for Papa Jeff's America. While you're there, you can check out more episodes of the broadcast, check out the OG Corner, get in contact with us, and you can even link to all of our social media. Please share our broadcast on all of your social media, because sharing is caring. And if you would like to help us keep our broadcast content free, please click on the Buy Me a Coffee link. You know how much Papa Jeff loves his coffee. And while we're on the subject of you, we want to hear from you. Your thoughts and comments and suggestions are what make this program go. Send us an email at our website, papajeffusa.com, or you can text us at area code 281-940-6980. Message and data rates may apply. Remember to wear that mask. Stay home if you can. Practice social distancing. Wash your hands frequently. And let's all take care of each other. Remember, disagree doesn't mean dislike. We're all in this together. Thanks again for joining us. We're looking forward to seeing you next time when we continue the conversation, one podcast at a time.